Brianna Mann from Solid Foundations Therapy here with your monthly therapy moment. This month I want to talk to you about defensiveness and how we combat defensiveness to help couples improve their communication. First, I want to talk to you about the 3 different types of defensiveness and then ways to recover from defensiveness to improve your communication. So the first type of defensiveness, which is the most popular, is defensive aggression, which is more of a counterattack than an attack, but essentially a most common phrase to use in defensive aggression of "it's not my fault" kind of statement. So it might be, "it's not my fault that the kids didn't take a nap today." Because it's not my fault, it turns into "it's your fault" potentially, and you're deflecting it back on the other person, and not accepting responsibility potentially for your actions. The next is righteous indignation, and this is a pushback kind of with the message of "how dare you?" Like, how dare you say that to me? Because you're pushing back on whatever statement they had, and reflecting it back to them. The last is the innocent victim. This one can be a little deceptive because it seems like the person is accepting your feedback. Unfortunately, it goes one step further. So if the feedback was, "Hey, dinner wasn't that great tonight," the recipient might cry and take blame on his or herself, that they're a terrible cook and they're always falling short of expectations. The problem with this is they're pushing back in a way that they're hoping that it prevents any further criticism, and gains their partner's sympathy. Again, it can be a deceptive one, but it definitely is super defensive and can cause issues in the relationship. There are simple ways to recover from defensiveness, which we're going to talk about next. The next one is to avoid criticism. So instead of criticizing your partner, saying, "you're so terrible," try using an "I" statement. "I felt really hurt when you didn't show up like I asked you to." I statements are just so much easier for people to hear and ultimately get your message heard more than a "you" statement. The next one is to work on self-soothing. So if your partner says something and you can feel yourself starting to get upset, take a minute, take a few deep breaths, ask for some space, but really work on self-soothing and not just responding with the first thing that comes into your head. The next is to really work on listening to your partner. What often happens when we get defensive is we start coming up with a response in our head, or we just say the first thing to get someone to back down. We don't actually hear what they're trying to say to us, so really work on that active listening. And with that comes taking responsibility for something you didn't do correctly. So if someone says, "I'm feeling really hurt that you didn't show up when I needed you," instead of coming up with your argument right away, taking a second, taking responsibility. "I'm so sorry. I was so overwhelmed and I should have reached out to you, or I should have told you I was going to be late." You'd be surprised how taking responsibility can diffuse a situation so quickly. So I hope those are helpful for you and that'll help you and your partner work on combating defensiveness this month. And I hope you have a great day.